Well, hello, and welcome to the Legacy Insights Podcast. I am your host, Mov'n Mike, and this is episode number 20, season 2. We're here to discuss entrepreneurship and the strategies to guide you to your goals and dreams. Simply put, we're going to provide insight to get your mind and your money right. So it's time to let's get smarter. All right, I got my trusty show notes here, and I'm telling you, this episode here, the wealth formula, how money really grows, this is an expansion on your knowledge base. So I'm going to read this to you directly, right? The hidden blueprint, the wealthy understand that most people will never, hardly ever know. Most people hardly never know this information in its entirety. They'll get bits and pieces, okay? In this episode, we're going to naturally expand on the season 2 progression over these last couple of episodes, these 20 episodes, right? So I'm going to be talking about some things in this episode that you could go back to previous episodes and tie it all together and expand on this knowledge, right? So here we go. Last week, episode 19, we established that financial intelligence is more valuable than financial literacy. Hands down. The application of the literacy makes you financially intelligent. You've got to be doing something with this information. If you're not applying it to your life, your family, your legacy, it's nothing. Okay, we also established that that knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is powerful, right? Right, so stay with me. In episode 20 this week, the wealth formula, how money really grows, let me show you. This answers the next question. All right, you learn more about money, you understand better how it works. Now we're going to answer the question, how do I build wealth? This is that episode. The wealth formula provides a practical roadmap that sets up future calls to action. Okay, this is the intelligence, the applied knowledge, okay, to explore each wealth building vehicle in a greater depth while reinforcing the legacy framework, the 6 pillars that I've been sharing with you guys, the concepts that I've come up with to help you build that foundation of financial intelligence and IQ to help you get to your goals and dreams. So this is going to tie it all together here. So let's go ahead and get smarter. So most people believe that wealth comes from working harder. Not true. We already established that the 40-40-40 plan does not work. Working for 40 hours for 40 years to retire on 40% of the pay doesn't work. We already know that, right? I established that last week. Okay. I also established that the big lie: go to school, get an education, get good grades, graduate, get a job, and the company will take care of you. No, that system no longer is in play. Okay, no one's coming to save us. So the wealthy know something different. Wealth is created through ownership, leverage, compounding. Okay, we're going to go into these concepts and these strategies: cash flow, tax efficiency, and time. Okay. You know, I've recently expounded on my knowledge of time, thinking that it's important to manage your time well, which it is, but it's not so much how much time you have as it is what you do with the time you have left. I hope you heard me now. Time management is good, is great. You need to have that to make sure that you're being impactful. But what you really need to do is manage your time in a way that you get the most out of the time that you have left. See, because once you burn it, it's gone. Right? And people say, oh, I'm going to pay myself back. No, that's a lie. You can't pay yourself back, because once it's gone, it's gone. Right? And time, the most valuable asset that we have, a commodity that we have, we waste it all the time. But what time that we have left, how much are we going to use it, into what degree, and how much impact will we make with the time we have left? So let's keep this thing moving. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the actual formula that has built fortunes for generations and explains how everyone else, regardless of income, can apply these simple foundational pillars and the strategies and the contracts that we're going to be discussing, no matter where you are in your life. So we're going to put these six pillars of the legacy framework to work for you. Here we go. Income makes you a living. Assets make you wealthy. Systems create that legacy. So we're going to be talking about the assets in the systems that's going to create this legacy for you. So here we go. If your paycheck disappeared tomorrow, would your money keep working for you? A lot of people can't say that. Yes, they can't say yes. And why is that? Because they don't have the tools. That's why this show exists, to give you the tools, to give you the information, right? To give you the financial IQ to move yourself forward, right? We got calls to action in this show. All right, so here we go. Most Americans only have one source of income, their job. We already know this, right? They might have two paychecks in the house, but that's still only one source of income, right? You have to have multiple streams of income, right? Outside of the 40-40-40 plan. Because once someone else is in charge of your 40 hours in your 40 years, you're at their your beck and call. I'm not saying for you not to have a job, not to be dedicated to your employer, okay? But what I'm saying is you need to have a plan B, C, and D to meet your goals and your dreams, to build that legacy. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. You know what can happen because they start cracking. That's about it. Okay, so here we go. Today's episode is going to expose the wealth formula. So poor people work for money. Wealthy people make money work for them. That goes without being said. So let's just talk about that wealth formula and what it looks like. All right. So here we go. First equation in wealth is you got to have income. You got to have income. There's no other way to build wealth. You got to have something coming in. Then you got to have a savings rate, right? That's the two first. Then you got to have investment return, right? They talk about the ROI, investment return. What does that look like? How much is that? Where is it coming from? Is it multiple sources of ROI investments? Then you're going to need time. We just talked about time. It's not as important as that you have it as much as what you do with what you have, the time you have left. You need to have compounding work for you. Okay, we're going to talk about that compounding in more depth in some of these strategies and contracts. Then you got to have some tax efficiency. Okay, if you've got a tax advisor, you should be working with that individual. Okay, you got to have some risk management. And what does that look like, really? What do people mean when they say risk management? What does that look like? We're going to talk about that. And that will equal financial freedom. When you have that formula, income, savings rate, rate of return, time, compounding, tax efficiency, and risk management, when you have those things in place, and we're going to help you get there, you can create that financial freedom. Okay, so let's talk about what income looks like. Income looks like that 40-40-40 plan plus a side hustle plus self-investment, investing in yourself, upskilling, so that you can bring in even more of that income so that you can start building that wealth. So that's income. Savings rate. So when you're saving your money, and hopefully it's just not in a savings account for 0.01%, 0.02%, while the bank is making 16 and 20%, loaning your money out to investors, okay, you should be getting that money, right? You should be putting your money in vehicles that are going to give you that compounding interest rate of return, right? So savings without interest loses purchasing power. Okay, this is the things that you need to know and then act on. Investment return. Investments without proper time, they don't compound. So whenever you're putting your money, your savings in those investment vehicles, You gotta give it time. There's no get rich quick scenarios out there. I hear people saying, "Oh, tell me about this contract where you can put your money in, put some money in there, and then take out a whole bunch of money." Well, if it hasn't been sitting there long enough to provide that ROI of a whole bunch of money, you can't take out more than you put in. Where you find that at? Please hit me in the comments and tell me where, because I want to know. I would love to know where you could put a little bit of money in and take a whole bunch of money out in a short period of time. I'd love to know that one. Please do tell me if you got it. Hit me in the comments, right? Tax efficiency. Returns without proper protection disappear. Okay? So taxes are the quickest way for you to get a raise, if you will. You reduce your tax burden, you get some write-offs, you get some depreciation, you have some losses on some of the ventures that you have. You can write that stuff off and actually protect even more of your income. Right? They said the tax laws for businesses are much more lenient than the taxes for employees. We're going to be talking about these things. All right? Everything must work together. Right? This system of capitalism was built for the company working class, not for the employee working class, okay? For the company working class. Let's talk about it. This is how capitalism works. This is the foundation of it. Ownership, problem solving, innovation, productivity, risk, investment, not labor. Okay? What is labor? Employees. Okay? You cannot get these benefits if you're an employee. You must have ownership. You must be an owner. Workers trade hours for dollars. Okay? No, owners build systems. Employees earn wages. Earners earn profit. Investors can earn appreciation. Lenders earn interest. We just talked about the bank. You put your savings in there, get 0.02% return. They're getting 16 and 20, loaning it out to investors and business owners. Okay? Landlords earn rent. Businesses earn recurring revenue. You get where I'm going here? You get where I'm going? Money follows value. That's why I talk about that second pillar, elevate. Get your side hustle on, get your business skills up, get your competence up in a trade and in a career line, right? Work career, right? Something that job skills, right? So you can earn additional income, bring more value to the table in yourself. That's the greatest investment you can make. Okay? These are a few vehicles that produce ROI, right? One of the biggest learning moments that you're going to have is this right here, the foundation of capitalism. Stocks, capital appreciation, and dividends. Average long-term returns are between 7 and 10% when it comes to stock. Okay, this is long-term. It didn't say short-term. Didn't say put some in, little in, take a lot out. No, this is long-term. This is a long game. Okay, index funds, passive investing, broad diversification, low fees, excellent for beginners. Look into index funds. Okay, these are the topics and things that we're expanding to. This is season 2 progression. Okay, the first season was just to get me out there and let you know, the listeners know that, hey, I'm going to be here for a while. I'm going to share this information with you. We're going to grow with this together. Okay, this is excellent for beginners. Index funds, ETFs, they're similar to index funds, right? But they're tradable during market hours and they're tax efficient, right? We're going to expand on this, right? I'm just giving you highlights. I'm giving you the highlights right now. We got bonds, interest income, capital preservation, and a lower risk. Okay, lower risk does means that a little bit lower return, right, over the long term. But guess what? It continually grows and works in your favor. So if you've got a child that you want to help put into college, get some bonds, some stocks and some bonds in that young child's life, so they can start actually saving toward their future. I mean, listen, even this current administration just started a child's investment fund for all the children in the country. I think that's an awesome idea. I think it's an awesome idea. It gives families and individuals who did not have an option or an opportunity to have their child have income growing for them in the long run, because they just not make it enough to make ends meet to put money aside for that child as they grow. I believe the government's starting every child out with $1,000. I got to get more information on that so we can talk about that as well on this show. Right? I think that's that's an awesome idea that the government is actually doing that. That the president had put that in effect. Kudos to the president for doing that. Okay. Treasury securities, government backed, they're stable income, the lower volatility. Okay. Treasury securities, look into them. Certificates of deposit, guaranteed interest, principal protection, lower returns. Okay. Still not a bad option. If you're going to do something, what you'd rather have a half a loaf of bread than no bread at all. Right? You have a couple of slices you can carry through. Right? That's what we're talking about here. Treasury securities, certificates of deposits. Right? They're not a big returners, but if you don't have a whole lot to put out, you got a little bit to get started with. These are great options. Okay? This is one of the best opportunities for you to learn about the system of capitalism right here in this show. Go to the Legacy Insights podcast on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Tap in with me so that we can continue this conversation. Okay? Legacy Insights podcast. High yield savings accounts. They're great for emergency funds. Great for emergency funds. They're liquid. They have liquidity. That means they're easy access. Okay? And it's great interest income. Real estate. Okay, there's a lot of people out here now getting into the real estate game. It's not a great time right now because of it's a high seller's market right now, and it's high for buyers. Okay, so just be careful. Interest rates are up. The administration is trying to get some people in there to bring interest rates down, but inflation is still kind of like just hanging in there. Keep your eye on the markets. Listen to these things. Tap into a show that deal with these interest rates and talking about what's going on in the marketplace. Just don't jump out there willy-nilly. Okay? So real estate, you got cash flow, rental income, property appreciation, tax benefits, leverage, and you get that depreciation that I talk about. You can write off some of that depreciation as you buy and do improvements on that rental property, right? It's a business expense. Right? I tell you that this country writes tax laws for business owners. Okay? Rights. Okay, real estate investment trusts and funds, right? Real estate investment without owning property. Okay, small business ownership. Hey, this is my small business right here. There's some benefits to this show, and and some tax advantages for me. What are you getting working for you out there? The show is about action. I come every week because I want you to see if I can do it, you can do it too. That's the hope. Right? That's what this show is all about. Moving forward, building a legacy for you and your family. All right, here we go. Small business ownership, highest potential rate of return, ROI. Small business ownership. This small business ownership is the backbone of this country. Always has been, always will be. If I know it never happened, but if we were to ever go back in time to the Western days, guess what? Everybody was an entrepreneur. Everybody was a business owner. Or you were that drunk in the bar, right? Somebody was out hunting, trading furs, trading cattle, hunting, and providing, horns and things. They were just out there making wheels, making iron, doing something. Okay. And then the age of industrialization took all that away. But this is the greatest time to be a business owner. Tap in with me. unlimited upside potential as a small business owner. Unlimited upside potential creates job, creates equity, creates reoccurring income. If you ever thought about getting out of that 40-40 plan, this is the strategy that you need to take. Start a small business. Grow your way out of that 40-40 plan. Don't become a prisoner to it. Escape the matrix, as I like to say. Franchises, let's talk about them. They're established systems. I talked about the wealthy create systems, right? Because systems pay you over and over and over again. When you go to a McDonald's or a Burger King or Dunkin' Donuts, who do you see behind the window? You see kids and retired people running that store. Owner's nowhere in sight because that owner's off buying another system, another location to increase their reoccurring income. Established systems, brand recognition, and cash flow, all associated with franchises. Okay, these are the things that you need to learn about and consider going forward. Okay, intellectual property for those brainiacs out there who write, who create, right? I'm loving it right now. I'm loving it, right? Those of you who want to write a book, it's never been an opportunity greater than right now to write a book. Oh man, I might have to try to do that too. I got so many things going on. I don't know if I got time to write a book, but listen, it's a great time to write a book for somebody else. Help somebody else. I talked about that last week as well. The greatest thing that you can do is help somebody else. Help pull somebody else up. If you write a book on self-help, on how to do something better, how to cope with something better, man, it's never been a greater time with all the tools necessary. You can publish your own book. You don't need to go out to get somebody's permission now. You could do it right at home. Okay? Courses, patents, music, digital products, royalties. Man, we talk about passive income. Right there, books, courses, patents, music, digital products, and royalties. All residual reoccurring income. Come on, people. Come on. It's just waiting for you to tap into it. We don't have a money issue in this country. We have a lack of people getting the money issue in this country. Okay? We got to start looking for handouts and start getting a hand up on what's going on. Stop looking for someone to give you something when you can go out there and create it. Man, I don't want to have to owe anybody if I don't have to. Right? If I can show people that I can get it on my own, guess what? Most people will step up and say, "Hey, man, you're doing your thing. Hey, young lady, you're doing your thing. Here, let me show you this. Let me show you this because I know you're going to do something great with what I provide for you, the information that I give to you." Because they're working hard at it already. They're not looking for handouts. Okay? They could always use a hand up, but they don't need a handout. Those are the kind of people you want to find and bring them into the fold. Because if they're working hard for them, guess what you could do together? You can work hard together. Share information, collaborate, grow. Beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. Okay, here we go. We're talking about royalties, right? Licensing, publishing, music, software, and media. We just talked about the books, publishing, talked about music, production, licensing, right? Software, media. Listen, dividends and stock, quarterly cash flow, growing passive income. That's awesome, right? Fixed indexed annuities. Okay, this is definitely my lane right here. You get principal protection, deferred growth, lifetime income, and retirement stability. Now that's my lane right there. Fixed index annuities and index universal life, IULs, life insurance policies. Those are my lanes. This is my lane right here, right? The IUL provides tax advantage accumulation, death benefit protection, potential cash value growth, compounding, okay, and living benefits based on the policy that you purchase. Okay. Now those living benefits, chronic, critical, and terminal death. Right. If you got a chronic health condition, critical care, if you need that. Matter of fact, it's chronic, critical, and death benefit, and then there's long-term care as well. So there's four um, additional policies wrapped into that IUL potential. Okay, so if anything were to happen to you, you have an IUL. Guess what? You're covered. So if you get a chronic disability, guess what? You can start paying your medical bill, so you don't have to go into your emergency fund. If you get a critical illness, it'll pay for that as well. You get a terminal illness, pay out all at once. Pay all out at once, man. And then of course, God willing, not willing, you die, and guess what? Your family's taken care of. Or if you get long-term care, most people will outlive their job and their savings. But if you get a long-term care policy, guess what? It'll pay for your long-term care residences and medical bills. Talk with your financial specialists and your financial advisors, your tax people. Get these strategies in place, please, people. Like I said, you don't have to believe in insurance. You just have to use it. You just have to use it. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Retirement accounts, 401ks, IRAs, Roths, SEPs, solo 401ks, tax advantages. These things, that's what they carry. Tax advantages. Employer matching. If you have an employer that has a 401k who's giving you any free money, grab it. It's more than what you put away. Free money. Some people say, "Oh, I don't want it." They only give me 1%, maybe 2%, right? They don't match as much. Half a loaf is better than no loaf. We talked about it. I'm sharing with you. Take that free money. Let's go. Precious metals, okay? Gold, silver, they hedge against inflation. Gold is up at the moment. Silver, I hear, is coming up, okay? At least you can get some value back out of that investment. Now, I see some people walking around look like Mr. T, Mrs. T, right? And that's all they have is a bunch of gold around their neck, right? But hey, if they need to sell it, at least they'll have it, right? That's what we're talking about here, hedging against, bad times, right? But there are some better investment vehicles than just having a whole bunch of gold around your neck, trying to look like somebody and impress people you don't even like, don't even know. All right, let's keep it moving. Talking about buying those niceties over necessities. It's not a real financial plan, but hey, precious metals will work for you at some point, right? As an additional form of protection and holding some values. We talk about commodities, energy, agriculture, industrial materials. You want to have a diversification in your portfolio. Okay, you know what? With all these data centers popping up all over the place, you might want to invest in a water company. You say, well, why the water? You got to cool off those machines. Back in my construction days, I worked in a data center for Goldman Sachs. Okay, huge amount of power being drawn in these data centers. Huge amount of power, and they got to be cooled off. I'm telling you, so look at investing into your utilities in these areas of agriculture, right? You got to feed these people, okay? You got to feed these people. You got to feed the country. You got to feed the world. So here's some alternative investments: private equity, venture capitalism, private lending, infrastructure, right? Infrastructure, huge, right? More buildings and homes. Find a lane. Find a lane. Farmland, collectibles, Crypto is kind of high. I've known some people who have made out well. God bless them, right? Not so much of a fan myself, but hey, it's happening for some people. They did their homework, right? You can't can't knock the hustle. They're getting paid. Okay. Art, wine, luxury assets. Okay. Higher potential returns often come with higher risk. Like I said, I can't mess with that crypto too much. I just can't. My kids talk about it. You know, um, the president's making a killing on it, right? Hey, but you know, some people have the inside knowledge and others don't. Some people just know what they're doing, others do not. Just make sure that if you're going to invest, it's money you can afford to lose. Just make sure it's money you can afford to lose. Okay, don't be putting your mortgage payments out there and car payment out there talking about, this is the one. Okay, you'll be sleeping on the couch, right? I tell my boys all the time, don't get caught hungry, homeless, and stupid. It's a bad place to be. Poor people die slow. Okay, don't want to be one of them. All right, here we go. You want to lower your liquidity, and you want to have lower liquidity and greater complexity in diversification, right? You want to have that money spread out all around the different places so that it returns a value to you, okay? You want to have at least that 6% to 10% return, minimal 6%. And the proper due diligence is essential. So that means you got to do your homework. That first pillar is learn. It says don't study until analysis paralysis, but get enough information, find out what other people are doing, get in the room with them, have a discussion, and then pull the trigger. You're not going to know until you do that. You're not going to know. All right, so here we go. The magic of compounding interest. This gentleman, Albert Einstein, is one of the greatest mathematicians there was. He called compounding interest the eighth wonder of the world. Why is that? Because it is, and it just works. It works, okay? It works, people. You just got to know how it works, okay? The rule of 72. You take any interest rate divided by 72, it will tell you how much money you will make over a period of years, okay? Just that simple. Rule of 72. Look it up. We'll touch on it. I've touched on it in previous episodes. I'm telling you now, you take 72 divided with the interest rate, that's going to tell you how many years it's going to take for your money to double. Okay, there you go. All right, the power of consistent investment. So this is time cost averaging, right? If you invest $200 a month at assumed 8% annual return. This is how these are not exact numbers. These are estimates. Please, people, don't hold me to this. This is an estimate, an approximate value. Okay, $200 a month at 8% return, approximate, not actual. What could possibly work in your advantage, assuming you get that 8% growth, assuming, right, the values are this. In the first year, the first 10 years, you can make about 200,000. Okay? The second year, investing $200 per month, getting that 8% return, okay? Approximately 400,000 in 20 years. Okay? 600,000 in 30 and 800,000 in 40. That's $1 million in 40 years. Now I talked about the 40-40-40 plan. You're going to work anyway. If you're young enough and you say you're starting at 20 years old, you're going to work 40 years anyway. If you're starting at 30 years, you're going to work 40 years anyway, because by the time you get to retirement, it's going to be 70 years old. If you're 50, right, you're going to work another 25 minimum. You see where I'm going with this? Right? So at 25 years, at $200 a month, you can put away almost $400,000 a year. If you're 50, right, you're going to work till 70 anyway, because that's going to be the new retirement age. It's already 67. You're going to raise it in the next few years anyway. You're 50. You got more time to go. Like I always say to people, retirement is not an age, it's a number. You hit that number, believe me, I know you're not working anymore. I know I won't. I hit my numbers because that's all that matters. That's all that matters. So if you're 50, for the next 20 years, you put away $200 a month, you can save yourself make savings of approximately $400,000 a year. Not a bad piece of change. Averaging approximately 8% return on compounding interest. Not a bad deal. Okay? Think about it. The rich don't necessarily earn income. They simply let time. It's not how much you got, but it's what you do with it, right? To multiply what they already own. Okay? These IULs, these index universal index universal life policies, indexed annuities, they work. They just do. Because that index allows for growth with none of the loss. Okay? Fixed index annuities, fixed IUL, index universal life policies allow growth without loss because they have caps and they have floors. Okay? They won't let you lose any of your principal income or any of your growth. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I don't know why you wouldn't even tap in with me to find out more. Hit me up in the comments. Send me an email. You want to learn more? Go back to previous episodes. Okay? The 20 advantages of IUL. It's in here. It's in season 1, I think it is. Season 1. Right? 20 advantages of the IUL. Check it out. Go back. Download that episode. Take notes. Ask questions. Leave comments. I'll tap in with you. Here we go. The 6 pillars guide to the journey. Right? So this is where we're going to start tying in how the 6 pillars of the legacy framework will help you with all of this ROI and the capitalism, the foundation of capitalism. Okay, let's talk about it. The first one is the first pillar, the legacy framework is learn. Matter of fact, just go to the Legacy Insights podcast on YouTube, hit that subscribe button so that you can constantly get notifications every time a new episode drops. That's what you really want to do. So the first pillar, learn. Financial education, understanding your assets, right? If you never go to school, you're not going to graduate. You got to learn. You got to understand what debt is, what's good debt, what's bad debt. There is a difference. There is a difference. Know how money works. That's what this episode is all about. Episode 19 showed the importance of knowing what financial IQ and intelligence is all about over financial literacy. In this episode, we're talking about how money truly works. Okay? That's what this episode is all about. That's what this episode is all about. All right, so let's keep it going. Pillar number 2, elevate. Important pillar. Very important. It's almost, I would say, learning is great. Elevating is better, is greater, right? Because you can't lose when you're going up, right? You can't lose. So you're going to increase your income. That's what elevate is all about. Increasing income. Finding new ways to bring in multiple streams of income. Just cutting grass, cutting bushes, yard work, sewing, right? My mom was a seamstress. God bless her soul, right? Get that money going. Get that income flowing in, okay? Right? Start investing. Start building businesses. Develop high income skills, right? That's what you want to do. That's what you want to do, okay? So check it out. What else are we going to do here? What else are we going to talk about? Start investing. I just gave you a whole list of investment strategies. Where to start putting your money to get an ROI in this capitalistic society that we're in, the United States. This system was built on capitalism in this country. Okay? Dig in. Develop high income skills. There you go. That's it in a nutshell. Pillar number 3, guard. Insurance. You don't got to believe in it. You just got to use it. It's not a religion. Okay, you got to have an emergency fund, not just money set aside. You got to have an emergency fund, right? Emergency funds are what? Cash with dollars with destination. Okay, dollars with a destination. Estate planning, trust, asset protection, and risk management. Okay, again, that word risk management, what does that really mean? Risk management. Okay, what it really says to you is that you want to investigate as much as possible to lower your chances of failure, right? So what does that mean? You want to have some tax strategies. You want to have diversification in your portfolio across different products, so that guess what? If something were to go south in one or two of them, the other four will save your butt. Risk management, knowing about taxes, okay, knowing about how they work, okay, align. Now, this right here, I would say, is the very first pillar, the first and most important pillar, alignment. Okay, why is that? Is because it talks about family goals. It gets you all together on the same page, right? No man is an island, okay? No man is an island. No one person can do it alone if you got a couple of people in that household, okay? It's not going to work for you. Alignment means getting your marriage going in the same direction, man. You know how important that is? A house unified. See, it's one thing to have the family on the same page, but your marriage, your relationship with your spouse, it's amazing. Going together, same destination, working together, single cause, single mind of purpose. Okay, that's what we're talking about there. You're teaching your children the responsibilities of money. That it's a tool. It's not just something that they get. Hey, hand out. Hey, I need this. I need that. And let me go to the movies. Let me go to the beach. No, there's some chores that come along with that. There's some homework assignments, right, that come along with that. Not just getting the grade, but can you actually apply it to a situation so that you know the information? Learning is the goal, not the grade. Application of the knowledge is the goal, not the grade. Okay, so there you go. Right, teach the children generational planning. Okay, generational planning. If you don't have a conversation about who you are, and where you want to go, and you're wondering why you're dazed and confused, it's nobody else's fault but your own. I was always taught that if I don't like the taste of the recipe, I got to change that recipe. If I don't like the way my life is going, guess what? I got to stop and turn around. One of my favorite music artists, J. Cole, said, "The good news is you went a long way. The bad news is you went the wrong way." It just speaks volumes. How many people are just going the wrong way? Okay, it's the lack of knowledge. It's a lack of alignment. Okay, generational planning. Talk to your children about the responsibilities of life and tools that they should be using, that you're currently using. And this is how it works, because this is what it will provide for you and them. Okay? Charitable giving. Talked about doing something for somebody else. How much it will do for you in your character. Charitable giving. Just showing up. Having a nice word to say, a smile, a handshake, a high five, a nod of the head, a smile. Somebody you don't know. Goes a long way for them and even for you. Having some financial values. You got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. You got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything, right? Get that budget in place, have those financial conversations, talk about money being a tool, and it's just not a given. All right? Work it out. Pillar number 5, change. Breaking bad money habits. Man, that goes right in with alignment. Having those conversations with your children about what money really is. It's a tool and how it works. Escape the paycheck to paycheck mentality, framework. Get out the matrix. Oh man, get out the matrix. That paycheck to paycheck is bad. I tell you, there's a difference between being broke and poor. Okay? There's a difference. I've been broke. I've never been poor. It was a lack of money, right? My mindset has always been one of more, never poor. I've been broke. And I want people to understand that broke, you can fix that. Poor is hard to fix. Okay? Poor is hard to fix. That's all inside. That's a lack of confidence. That's a lack of effort. That's a not poor. I'm broke. I might have been broke. Right? So let's change our mindset and change our lives. Okay? There you go. That's what this show is all about. Tap in with me to Legacy Insights Podcast on YouTube. Right? Let's get out of broke. Okay? That's what's up. Okay. Replace consumer thinking. Okay? That's that niceties over the necessities. Get out of there. Come on. Come on. We don't want to do that. Right? No niceties over the necessities. Always necessities first. And then if you can afford it and buy it with cash, then you're in a much better space. Stop using those credit cards to buy those toys. All right? Stop using credit cards to buy toys. Now, if you're going to use those credit cards to build assets, now we're talking. Like I said, there's a good credit and there's bad credit, right? We got to learn which one is which. Okay, so here we go. Become an investor. Easily said than done, right? Not exactly. You can start investing in yourself right away with those credit cards. Good debt. Get some extra skills. Go on Google and sign up for a Coursera course. Get some more knowledge. Pay for it with a credit card. Guess what? It'll pay you back. It will eventually pay you back. That's what we're talking about here. Okay? And become an owner. Start a business. If you take your credit cards and purchase come up with the name of the company, get the LLC, you put it all on a credit card, you buy your stock and your inventory on your credit, your available credit, guess what? That's good debt. That's good debt. Because you can write it all off. And how about you make a profit? Because what the best return on your investment is a small business, starting a small business. It's one of the best things you could do is start a small business using your credit. Don't go out there and buy liabilities. Buy some assets. Buy a business. Buy a business. Here you go. So here we go. The last most important pillar. Now, like I said, alignment was up there, almost like at the top. But this one pillar right here, this pillar number 6, you is the most invaluable pillar in the Legacy Insights framework for building a legacy. You. It all comes down to you. What do you want for yourself? How do you see it? Or your dreams big enough for everybody else's dreams to fit into? That's what I'm talking about here. I have to dream so big. You have to dream so big that everybody else around you, their dreams fit inside yours. Because you're the one that's going to make it happen for everybody and provide access to their dreams, to their goals, to the life that they desire. It's your job. It's my job. Together, it's our job. Okay? Let's make it happen. You got to have some discipline. You got to have some patience with discipline. Oh, man. I think I'm going to write a book on that. Discipline and patience. Right? I want it now. It's been a long time now, but I still want it now. Right? Consistency, patience, and discipline. Wow. Mindset, consistency, patience, discipline. Leadership, mindset, consistency, patience, discipline, legacy thinking, leadership, mindset, consistency, patience, discipline. You are the greatest investment you'll ever make. Man, I love that last pillar. You and I. That's how we're going to make this thing happen. So let's talk about it. I've always got challenges. This show is all about you. It's all about taking action, right? We already know that financial intelligence requires action. So what literacy is there? So what you know? It don't matter. So what you know, right? We got to put some things in action. Here we go. Which one best describes you? Are you an employee, a saver, investor, owner, a builder, or a legacy creator? Which one are you? You got to answer those questions for yourself. Who do you want to be? Well, this show is about how you get there. The Legacy Insights podcast is how you get there. This information alone, the Legacy Insights framework to building a legacy is how you get there. Who are you? I'm going to challenge you to become one level better before the next episode. Okay, so if you're an employee, guess what? I want to know that you're a saver next week, right? You got to start. You got to start right where you are. If you have the means and you want to become an investor or an owner, start the research. Like I said, just don't jump out there, become an owner or an investor. You're going to get burned. Don't do that, right? You want to start saving first. Then you want to start doing some research. Chat, Claude, Perplexity. Do some research on the areas that you want to do some growing in. Let me know about it in the comments. Okay, let me all hear about it in the comments. Tell me what you're doing, how you're getting one level better next week. So in the challenge, the legacy challenge, open one investment account if you can. Increase retirement contributions. These are small things that you can do. Increase it by 1%. Read one investment book. Okay. Pull up some some literature on IULs, Index Universal Policies. Right. Go back to my previous episode, the 20 advantages of IUL. Look it up in my catalog of podcasts. Right. Listen to it, and then go check the information so that you know that you know that you know. Okay. Listen to one financial podcast. Hey, you just did that one. You can check that off on your list. Come back next week and you got two on your scorecard. Okay. Meet with one financial professional. You just did that too. You can check that off too. But if you have one of your own, go tap in with that financial professional. Make sure you know that you know that you know. Okay. Teach one child about money. Man, changing that legacy. One child at a time. All right. And if you got multiple children, teach them all at the same time, that one principle. Okay. Take one action to become 1% better 1 week at a time. So legacy is built one decision at a time. Make a decision, have some consistency, some discipline, have some patience, okay, and make it happen for yourself. All right. So the goal isn't to make more money. The goal is to build a system where money continues to make money longer after you've decided to stop working. Man, I am your host, Mov'n Mike, the Legacy Insights podcast. I want to thank you for the privilege of your time, taking time to take time out to get better with me. And with that, see you in the next episode.